Hello, and welcome back to the Colorado Office of Employment First's video mini-series promoting person-centeredness for people who provide support to youth and adults with brain injuries. This is the second video of a series of 3, and this video highlights how to apply person-centered practices to support successful transitions to employment. It is always important that when we are providing supports to anyone, that we always take the time to better understand them and their needs. So before you ask, what do we do to support someone's transition to meaningful work? We should ask, what do we know? What do we know about their needs, their wants, and their preferences? So, to ensure that we are successful in being able to answer the question of what do we know, we can utilize what we learn through employing our person centered thinking skills. This includes all of the discovery and listening skills, the everyday learning skills, and some management skills. Collectively, each skill on its own or used together help to inform better understanding of what is important to the person and also what is important for them in their life. We know that both are connected and can have an impact on the other. For example, most people who engage in efforts to improve their health, safety, or their value within their community do so because it has a direct connection to what makes them happy, comforted, fulfilled, satisfied, and content. Being able to understand these connections can help ensure we are providing better supports that align with what is important to and for the person, and not influenced by what we think is important to and for them. After all, this is their life. Once we learn more and can answer the question of what we know, we can begin to craft plans around providing better supports. A great way to ensure that everyone can benefit from what we have learned is to organize it and share it. There are 2 ways we can organize and share what we have learned, and that is through a full person-centered description or through a shorter 1-page description that highlights the most important things others should know when trying to provide best supports, such as when transitioning to employment. Let's explore some practical applications of our person-centered thinking tools. It is possible that when you are supporting a person who was born with a brain injury or who acquires one later in life, there will be a need to plan for support specifically around their cognitive needs. This could present in a person who now has memory loss or difficulty learning or retaining new information. It could include disorientation or trouble focusing or following conversations. It can also mean planning around support if the person has a loss or decrease in their spoken or written communication skills. So, we may want to consider applying the following person centered thinking tools to help with our planning process. This can include the use of the communication chart, where we can clarify how to interpret responses or confusion and determine what our role is for best supports. We can also use the learning log to help track what support or intervention are working and what needs to change the next time we do them. This is a great tool to use when a person is transitioning to a new job or returning to the workplace after a brain injury. We can also use the 4+1 questions, a great everyday learning tool that helps us capture learning around our supports based on what we have tried, what we are pleased about, what we're concerned about, and also what we will try next. Additionally, we may need to plan for support around the person's physical needs. This can include when they experience fatigue, headaches, or have sensory sensitivities. It can also include changes to their mobility, coordination, range of motion, or balance. A few practical person centered thinking tools we can use include capturing down the person's ideal rituals and routines. This ensures that their daily activities account for fatigue cycles and physical needs, including when work or school schedules need to be adjusted. We can also use the what's working, what's not working tool to ensure we know what changes could be made in a work or home environment that better meet the person's needs and brings in the perspective of supporters, family members, coworkers to help share in that learning. It is also very common if you are supporting a person who acquired a brain injury that they may need some additional planning and support around their identity and mental health. This can include the phrase of, "Who am I now?" It's a common theme after someone acquires a brain injury. It can also include grief and loss over former abilities, include social isolation or fear of the future. Some practical person centered thinking tools that can be used here include the good day, bad day, where we foster that self awareness and rebuild a new sense of self by learning to what contributes to the person having a good day and what can trigger a bad day. We can use again the learning log to help track what brings joy and success and that sense of control. This can be used by the person as their own recovery journal. We can also use the tool of reputation, helping to rewrite any negative perception and harnessing their strengths and their positive image. There are many more examples I could share, but it is clear that the usefulness of person centered skills will lead to more understanding and knowledge that can then in turn help us to provide better supports. Person centered thinking skills respects the individuality in recovery. Every brain injury is different. It helps to bridge gaps between the person, their supporters, and their employers. It improves communication and connection. It supports the restoration of dignity and self determination. And it promotes hope for the future and supports the pursuit of a quality life, complete with meaning and purpose. So come learn how to use the person centered thinking skills to help you provide better supports to a youth or adult who may have a brain injury and help them meet their goals, including the pursuit of meaningful employment. You are invited to participate in one of our upcoming person centered thinking training courses. They are 2 full days of training taught in person with lots of interactive activities. Submit your interest now to participate in this limited time offering to receive this training for free. The training will be available for free until June of 2026, and then we'll have a per person cost thereafter. So come and learn how to provide support that promotes positive control and self direction. Engage in meaningful conversations about goal setting, problem solving, and action planning, and build effective relationships that open the door to greater collaboration and planning done through partnerships. To sign up for this training, scan our QR code or email our trainer, Dr. Tiffany Cron, at tiffany.cron@cuanschutz.edu. Thank you for watching the second video of our mini-series. Be sure to check out part 3 that will be released in the spring of 2026. Funding for this video mini-series has been provided by MindSource as part of their community grant for fiscal year 2026 from the Colorado Brain Injury Trust Fund. Stay connected to us. To learn more about person-centered thinking or Employment First efforts, please go to employmentfirstcolorado.org. To learn more about brain injuries and MindSource, please go to mindsourcecolorado.org. The included person-centered thinking material and its content are the property of the trainer's organization and are copyrighted. Unauthorized reproduction or distribution is prohibited.